When you hear the name Zhou Yu from China's Three Kingdoms era, you probably think of one thing: a petty, jealous villain. But what if I told you the history books paint a completely different picture? A picture of a hero whose real story is way more fascinating than any fiction. This is the line that's defined him for centuries. In the legendary novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, these are supposedly his dying words. A final, bitter cry of envy for his rival, the genius strategist Zhuge Liang. It's the perfect, tragic ending for the story's antagonist. That's right, the bitter, insecure, constantly outsmarted Zhou Yu, he's pretty much a complete fabrication. The real man was something else entirely, and his true legacy was almost completely buried just to make a better story. So today, let's separate the man from the myth.
Okay, so first we have to ask, how did his image get so twisted? Well, the answer lies in the incredible power of one of the greatest novels ever written, Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
I mean, the difference is just night and day. See, the novel needed a perfect villain to make its hero, Zhuge Liang, shine even brighter. And the historical Zhou Yu, this confident, brilliant, and generous leader, was the perfect candidate to sacrifice for the story. He was twisted into a cartoonishly jealous rival. Also, the hero could look good by constantly beating him.
So, with that out of the way, let's meet the man history actually remembers. He wasn't just some soldier. He was a highly respected aristocrat, and he had a nickname that tells you everything you need to know about him: Chu Long, or Master Zhou. And this wasn't some casual nickname, The term Lang was a sign of deep respect, used only for young men who were seen as exceptionally talented, charismatic, and cultured. It tells you he was viewed as the total package: brilliant, handsome, and admired by pretty much everyone. The guy was basically a Renaissance man before the Renaissance. He was a musical genius, a leader famous for his generosity, and so loyal he was considered the absolute bedrock of the kingdom of Eastern Wu. This is the polar opposite of the petty villain we see in the novel. This old saying just captures his character perfectly. The story goes that even at a huge banquet, after a few drinks, if a single musician hit just one wrong note, Zhou Yu would instantly notice and glance over. That tells you something about his incredible focus and his deep appreciation for the arts. Now, this quote comes from a veteran general named Cheng Pu. And here's the kicker. Cheng Pu originally hated Zhou Yu because Zhou Yu was younger but had a higher rank. But Zhou Yu never took the bait. He treated the old general with so much respect and humility that he completely won him over. Cheng Pu's words just show you how irresistible Zhou Yu's charisma really was.
But Zhou Yu wasn't just a charismatic, cultured gentleman. He was, without a doubt, one of the greatest military strategists of his generation. And his absolute masterpiece was the Battle of Red Cliffs, a battle that literally shaped the future of China.
To understand his achievement, you have to understand the odds. I mean, they were just staggering. On one side, you have the warlord Cao Cao with a massive army of over 220,000 soldiers. And on the other side, Zhou Yu, leading a coalition of just 50,000. The odds weren't just bad, they looked absolutely impossible. Faced with that kind of overwhelming force, nearly every single advisor in his kingdom told their ruler to just give up. It really seemed like the only sane option. But in a court that was drowning in fear and defeatism, one man stood up: Zhou Yu. He was the only one with the confidence to argue for war. And his confidence wasn't just arrogance. It was based on a clear, brilliant, and methodical plan. He wasn't just hoping for a miracle, he was about to engineer one. He systematically broke down his enemy's weaknesses, took decisive command, and executed one of the most legendary strategies in all of military history. And this is where his true genius just shines. He stood before his lord and calmly explained why Cao Cao's massive army was actually a paper tiger. He pointed out that their northern troops couldn't handle naval combat, that they were unprepared for the diseases of the south, that their supply lines were stretched to the breaking point. With this one brilliant analysis, he turned the entire court's fear into confidence and was put in command of the whole army. Now, winning at Red Cliffs cemented Zhou Yu as a legend. But for him, this impossible, history-changing victory, well, it wasn't the endgame. It was just step one in a plan so huge, it could have stopped the Three Kingdoms period from ever even happening.
Right after his victory, Zhou Yu laid out this grand strategy, sometimes called the divide the empire in two plan. The idea was to conquer all of the western provinces, creating a massive southern superpower. From there, he'd launch a two-front war against Cao Cao in the north. The goal? Total unification of China under his lord. It was audacious, and it was brilliant. What's really incredible is his foresight. He recognized that his own ally at Red Cliffs, the warlord Liu Bei, was actually his biggest long-term threat. So he proposed this ruthless but clever plan: lure Liu Bei to their capital and basically trap him in a gilded cage, shower him with so much luxury and comfort that his ambition would just die out. His lord rejected the idea, which, as it turns out, was a huge mistake. And then, right as he was on the road, preparing to launch the first phase of this grand campaign, tragedy struck. Zhou Yu fell ill and died. He was only 36 years old. His ambition, his grand strategy, his entire vision for the future, it was all just gone. His death wasn't just a personal tragedy. It was a massive historical event that completely changed the course of Chinese history. Because without its architect, Zhou Yu's grand vision fell apart, and the entire political map got redrawn. You can see the domino effect right here. With Zhou Yu gone, his plan was scrapped. His replacement adopted a much friendlier policy towards Liu Bei, even lending him the very land Zhou Yu had fought so hard for. With that new territory, Liu Bei was able to conquer the West, the same land Zhou Yu had been targeting, and finally establish his own kingdom. Basically, Zhou Yu's death directly enabled the rise of his biggest rival. So when you boil it all down, it comes to this. Zhou Yu is arguably the single most important architect of the entire Three Kingdoms era. His victory at Red Cliffs created the possibility of a divided China, and his early death is what allowed that division to become the famous three-way stalemate we all know. He wasn't some sidekick. He was the man who set the entire stage. And that leaves us with one last massive question to think about. Zhou Yu's plan was for a world with two powers, not three. If he had lived to see it through, Liu Bei might have just been a footnote in history, and the iconic Three Kingdoms era, well, it might never have existed at all. It's an incredible reminder of how history can turn on the life of one single person.